It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be pod-smacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
You know what today is? Today is the 4th of October. You know what else today is? Today is National Taco Day, and it's a Wednesday. All right, just real quick. It should always be on a Tuesday, so I'll just be the first person to lobby and say that if you're going to do Taco Tuesday, or Taco Day, it's got to be on a Tuesday, first Tuesday of October. There you go. Show's over. I could end the show right now, and I will have said as much as most pundits could have said today, but I have much more to get to. Hello and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys on board. Glad to have you checking us out on Liberty One TV, also the Podcast One Radio Network. If you're downloading on iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Google Play, Google Plus, all those audio platforms, thank you very much. Just look up Rob Carson Show if you have any issues. Today is episode number 180 of the audio podcast. And so it's going well. It's going well. I hope you're doing well as well. I want to thank Dr. Alex Nelson for being an official sponsor of the show. FountainOfLifeChiro.com, FountainOfLifeChiro.com. Chiropractic is terrific. There was a time a few years ago, about 12, 13 years ago, I had pain in my shoulder and it was radiating into my arm. That's not a good thing. I thought, oh my goodness. So I went to a sports medicine doctor. They said, you got to get a nuclear stress test. I said, oh geez, okay. It's for your heart, right? So I decided to go to a chiropractor. And he gives me the once over and says, you're sleeping on a pillow that's too thick. It's your neck, man. And he gave me a little adjustment, fixed it. Amazing. FountainOfLifeChiro.com if you're in Kansas City. Check it out, will ya? Thank you for being a sponsor, guys. We really do appreciate it. I've got a lot of stuff to get to with regard to Vegas. I'm not spending as much time on the gun control debate as a lot of hosts because they're beating it to snot, all right? I think it's an overreaction. It's the immediate go-to, and it gets faster by the left every time an incident happens. I don't care what it is. Whenever there's a mass shooting, it's an immediate attack on the Second Amendment, but they could care less about the people who are dying in Chicago year-round. I don't know if you know this. Jimmy Kimmel is talking about the 59 people who were killed in Vegas, and it's a terrible, terrible tragedy. Did you know that this year, 59 people every quarter? More than that, actually. We'll get to some of that in just a moment. But I do have some audio that I want to share with you from the, that is kind of new, I guess. His brother, the shooter's brother, Stephen Paddock's brother, did some interviews yesterday. And, this has got to be unbelievably difficult, obviously. Who knows where this is going to come from? He lives across the country from his brother. He's not very close to his brother, and something like this happens. What are you going to do? Well, yesterday, I think it hit home for him. He was in disbelief on Tuesday and in meltdown yesterday.
When Steve can do this, we are in deep because there's just nothing there. You find me where someone who's like Steve does this. I hope the hell they find when they do the autopsy that there's a tumor in his head or something. Yeah. Because if they don't, we're all in trouble.
And actually, he's right. He was talking about the bell tower shooter at Texas University in the 1960s. That's what they found out about him. So he had a brain tumor. May have contributed to his mania and what he did. And wouldn't it be easy if it just was a brain tumor? Wouldn't it just be so much simpler if it was just a brain tumor? Then we could close the book on it and go, okay. I don't know if Democrats would want to ban brain tumors or not, but wouldn't it be easy if it was that simple? But instead, who knows? A friend of mine named Chris Plant, on the air in Washington, D.C. on WMAL on a nationally syndicated radio program, and a hell of a guy. He mentioned this morning, and I mentioned this on day one. I said, let me see, a bunch of possible Trump supporters, conservatives, possibly gun owners down there in the crowd. Do you suppose they could have been targeted for political reasons? Because this guy bought 33 guns in the last year. What happened a year ago? Just about a year ago. Donald Trump was elected. I don't know. I had heard that he stayed at another hotel above another music festival in Vegas a week before, featuring the artist Lorde and Chance the Rapper. So if that were the case, then that would dispel that, because Chance the Rapper's fans, probably not so much Trump supporters. We'll see. Here is Eric Paddock, his brother, talking about how his brother transferred $100,000 to his girlfriend.
Steve is the reason that she has substantial funds right now and is comfortable. That's the Steve I know. Okay. Now the other thing is someone said that that Steve transferred $100,000. Woo, $100,000. We're wealthy people. $100,000 isn't that much money, and I'm sorry if that hurts people or something, but $100,000 isn't that huge amount of money.
Yeah. Well, and the media is going after this guy for saying that $100,000 is not a lot of money. To this family, not so much. So I didn't think twice about that, to be quite honest. It didn't bother me. The man is obviously bewildered. He's been thrown for a loop. He's gone. Well, for last night, I haven't had time to really have it sink in. The first day you experience shock, and then you experience empathy and grief, and then just the cold, hard reality hit me last night that 515 or 530 people were injured and 59 people are dead. And that's when you go, WTF. That's what happened to me last night. Shock, grief, empathy, and then what the hell? What the hell? So his girlfriend, the shooter's girlfriend's Marilu Danley, flew to the Philippines just prior to the shooting. Tuesday night, it was reported that she had arrived in the United States in L.A., flew back from Manila. FBI is going to be looking at her as a person of interest. Here is her sister speaking, pardon the accent, but her sister, obviously the family, they're freaking out as well.
And I know that she don't know anything as well like us. She was sent away.
She was sent away. She didn't know anything.
She was sent away so that she will be not there to interfere or put this flooding.
She didn't even know that she's going to the Philippines until Steve said, Marilu, I found you a cheap ticket to the Philippines.
In that sense, I thank him for sparing my sister's life. But that won't be to compensate 59 people life.
Yeah. And in case you couldn't understand, she says that I am grateful that he sent her away and she didn't die. But it doesn't compensate for 59 people dying. We'll see what happens. So $100,000 to his girlfriend's family just prior to the shooting. Sent her to the country at the same time. Now, an interesting thing, this is from Newsweek. The girlfriend, Marilu Danley, originally Marilu Natividad, married Gary Danley in 1990, took his surname. Danley, 76, live in Arkansas, is not answering any questions about this woman. 1996, Marilu wed Jose Bustos and became Marilu Bustos. But she did not dissolve her marriage to Danley until 2015, according to divorce records. So she was married to two people at the same time. I had heard she worked in the casino when he met the shooter. So that's kind of what we know right now. We will, we will see. Will we ever find out why he did it? I don't know. Wouldn't it be nice? Here's some of the body cam footage from the police officers on the scene. They soon realized as they arrived on the scene that they were being targeted by the guy with the scope. Now, what do you think about that? Random shooting, scary enough, right? Scary enough to run in and it's just a random thing. But to realize as you're going in to save people, you're the target.
Get them down, get them down. Hey, you guys, get down. Go that way. Get out of here. There's gunshots coming from over there. Go that way. There's gunshots right here.
Yeah. Now, did you hear that? There was one concert. That's fireworks, bruh. That's fireworks. The police are going, no, it's not. It's not. Now you think about this. You've been out in the sun all day and you've been watching a country music concert all day. You're going to be drunk. A lot of people are going to be drunk if you drink a lot of beer. So you got to imagine, there was some of that. No, it's a fireworks, bruh. There was a couple guys stood up and flipped off the Mandalay Bay where the gunshots were coming from. Little boozed up.
Hey, go that way. Hey, they're shooting right at us, guys. Everybody stay down. Stay down.
Yep.
Where's it at?
North of the Mandalay Bay is coming out of a window. We see muzzle flash from the Mandalay Bay. Everybody get down.
Welcome to Afghanistan. Welcome to Iraq. I'm sure that there are a lot of veterans who experienced combat. It must have been really hard to hear, really hard to see. I think that there were probably a lot of veterans and active duty military in that crowd. Maybe that's some of the reason why so many people were saved. Here is a guy named Tom McIntosh. He was shot in Vegas. He was saved by an Army reservist. They were reunited on the Today Show. Excuse me if I get a little misty here.
We were able to find James, and I know you wanted to thank him.
I did.
So we brought him here.
Oh, wow.
So that you could meet him, and James
Nice.
is here. This is James Lawson.
There he is.
Hey, man. Thanks, buddy. Of course, man. I appreciate it.
You doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. That's great.
James, you found Tom. What did he look like to you? You could tell he needed help, obviously.
Yeah, we were getting away, and we came across him. He was in the bed of a pickup truck. There's a belt, a makeshift tourniquet. It was kind of around his knee. It was completely wrong spot, and I walked up there, and he was actively bleeding. So I adjusted the belt, got it up where it should be, tightened it down. We stopped the bleeding. Some savior in a pickup truck came and said, "Do we need a ride?" I said, "Yeah." We threw them all in the bed of the truck, and we took off to the hospital.
Fantastic. Isn't that cool? That's like the story of the day. Absolutely, absolutely love this. Want to mention something that kind of, I think it's a big mistake. Austin City Limits, big music festival is coming up this weekend, I guess. Starts Friday in downtown Austin, 75,000 people in attendance. Spokesman for Austin City Limits said they are offering refunds to fans who no longer wish to attend in the wake of the tragedy. Said there will be a high presence of law enforcement at the show to ensure the safety of attendance. Jay-Z and Red Hot Chili Peppers are going to be there. That's going to be a good show. I am not going to curl up in a ball. Are you going to curl up in a ball? Are you going to be afraid to be out in public? I'm not going to. If you do, this bastard wins. If you do, this guy wins. And I am not going to let that happen. And we shouldn't, because I don't think it's going to happen again. It won't happen in this fashion again. It's not going to happen, guys. It's not going to happen again this way. Unfortunately, killers find a way to kill. You can ban guns and you can do this and you can do that, but killers going to find a way to kill. It's just the way it is. Here's Garth Brooks talking about how shows must go on.
My favorite movie of all time. There's a line in that movie. That movie's called Starman. Toward the end of the movie, they get this one moment alone, and the good guy asks the space alien, he goes, "What have you learned about us as a human race?" Greatest line ever. He says, "When things are at their worst, you're at your best." I love that line. Yep. So here's the deal. I didn't want to do this. I really didn't. This has been rough. I can't imagine the people, the artists that have gigs tonight. And I know you're probably wondering what to do. Here's my advice. The show must go on. When things go bad, doctors go to work. When things go bad, policemen go to work. When things go bad, music and musicians go to work. They need the power of that healing. I'll be the first. But it's not the world that I am changing. what I do, and so this world will know that it will not change me.
You know, I have had a lot of wasted years not listening to country music. Seriously. I have wasted a lot of years not listening to country music. It's time to start listening to country music. These people are good damn people. Their fans are good damn people. It's time I started listening to country music. John Rich from Big and Rich was on MSNBC talking about the difference between the two videos. They sang God Bless America. They sing God Bless America before every show, and people hold up their phones. Remember when they used to do lighters? And they honor the military, and it's wonderful. And it's wonderful. And he was contrasting the difference between the two videos, God Bless America versus people running and screaming for their lives.
I mean, can you imagine a more stark comparison of good and evil? I mean, can you? I mean, that's about as stark as it gets. You know, when you look out and you've got 22,000 people singing God Bless America, holding up their phones, you got to understand, in that moment, there is no politics, there is no race, there is no religion, there is nothing divisive at all. It's sheer American unity. People from all over the United States had come to this concert, and we're standing there in one voice singing God Bless America. And, you know, to me, that's the strength our country really has. We see a lot of people left and right that try to break Americans up into different groups and get us all to fight with each other. But really who America is that moment that you're seeing there when everybody's singing in unison, God Bless America. We can debate and argue all we want, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans. And I think that shows it in such a clear way what the true spirit of our country is.
Again, I have wasted a hell of a lot of years not listening to country music. Need to listen to country music. So Jimmy Kimmel doubled down on his comments with regard to the Second Amendment, with regard to what happened, obviously, and he's an emotional guy, and I met him a few years ago, and I always liked him. I always thought he was funny, and then he started getting wicked political, and I think it's an insult to late night television that you've got all of the hosts this week are saying they're parroting the same talking points. If Johnny Carson, and by the way, the reason I use the name Carson is because of Johnny Carson. He was my idol when I was a kid. That's it. My real name is Schwarzenegger, actually. Anyway, Johnny Carson, and Johnny Carson wouldn't have said this. He might have gotten emotional. He might have said, "We remember, we pray." That's what he would have said, and he wouldn't have launched into some diatribe about gun control. I don't think Leno would have done it either, but here's Jimmy Kimmel Tuesday night.
And special good wishes to those watching from Las Vegas, where you know what happened on Sunday night. I'm not going to get deep into it again tonight. I said what I had to say last night, but I do want to say something to these nuts who spent most of the day today on television and online attacking those of us who think we need to do something about the fact that 59 innocent people were killed. They say it's inappropriate to be talking about it.
So we're nuts, right? We're nuts because we think it's inappropriate for you to be talking about it before the bodies are put in the ground. And we're nuts for saying that shootings happen all year long. This is a rare occurrence.
Because it's too soon. Well, maybe it's too soon for you because deep down inside, you know, in your heart, you know you bear some responsibility.
Okay, now this is the next direction that people are going in. Is that if you support that, the view, you believe in a strong Second Amendment, you don't believe in immediately a knee-jerk reaction to a specific kind of gun when an accident when an issue like this happens, when an incident like this happens, now you bear some responsibility. That's what they're saying. I've got Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut in just a second. I'm going to share some audio of him. He's blaming Congress who don't take action on gun control for this. A little more from Jimmy Kimmel.
For the fact that almost anyone can get any weapon they want.
I don't bear a damn bit of responsibility, and what a douchey thing to say.
Now you want to cover yourself until the storm of outrage passes. You can go back to your dirty business as usual, but it's not too soon for us because we're Americans, and last time I checked, the First Amendment is at least as important as the Second Amendment. So we really
well, you know, we're not all Americans, according to the left. We heard a lot of vitriol. There was a CBS executive saying that She didn't mind that it happened to country music fans because they're Trump voters. We heard a lot of that. There was a lot of hate. There were a lot of people saying, they're Trump voters. I'm glad they're dead. Essentially. There's a paper out east. Little dinky rag. Listen to this. And I hope people call the Bennington Banner, wherever the hell that is. The Bennington Banner. The cartoon by a guy named Randall Enos features a pile of dead bodies under the caption, "Whatever happens in Vegas," with an ellipses, ... The editor said the comment was meant to be a political comment on the likelihood that little action would be taken on gun control, but he admitted that Tuesday's banner was not the right time or the right place for that conversation, and we must first mourn and honor the victims despite the apology. There have been calls for both the editor and the cartoonist to resign. They should. Whatever happens in Vegas with a cartoon pile of bodies. What the hell? And this is what the left thinks of the people who died that night. It's not funny. It's not a statement. It's sickening. Jimmy Kimmel lamented the 55 innocent who were killed in Las Vegas. That's how many people are being shot in Chicago every day. And I mentioned this yesterday. Chicago Tribune reports that so far in 2017, 527 people killed. Isn't that interesting? Kimmel's monologue contained no lamentation for the more than 63 individuals who were killed on average every month in Chicago during 2016. Said nothing for the 4,400 victims who were shot and wounded during 2016. Chicago's a tough one for the left because all the gun control imaginable has been tried, including all-out ban on handguns. So Chicago is actually a case study in the ineffectiveness of gun control as an example of the number of murders and shootings that rise when strict laws are in place with regard to handguns. Handgun ban instituted from 83 to 2010. Death toll was much higher during that time. Chicago Police Department reports there were 850 homicides in 1993. 100 more than in 1993 than the 762 homicides for 2016. However, the Chicago Police Department shows there were 930 homicides in 1994. 921 in 1991, and starting 940 and a startling 940 homicides in 1992. If you break these figures down by averages, it means over 78 individuals killed every month in 1992. 70 were killed every month in 1993. 77 were killed every month in 1994. But those lives don't matter. It's only when it's a big shooting and when the left can forward its anti-Second Amendment diatribe. That's what it fortifies what they think year-round about guns. They would like to have them banned, period. I thought this was kind of interesting. A lot of people on the left in this country are saying, and this includes members of Congress, are saying that there are Nazis in the White House. There are fascists in the White House. Why do they want gun control then? Think about that. What do Nazis and fascists do to take power and murder? They take and they disarm the population. So if you really believe that, if you really think there are Nazis and fascists in the government and the Trump administration, you'd want to arm up for it, wouldn't you? Or be sheep led to the slaughter? Which would you rather be? I'd rather arm up. Thank you very much. Senator Chris Murphy on the well of the Senate talking about gun control, and he's way out there. I mean, he is so knee-deep in this stuff. Here's cut number one from him.
We have become normalized and regularized to...
Okay, regularized. He used that throughout the entire thing, and I'm kind of I won't say I'm a wordsmith, but I'm a grammar Nazi. Here he is. He uses regularize a lot.
50 or 40 or 30 people losing their lives, but this happens nowhere else other than the United States.
Now, wait. Now, they're taking a new tack here. The left is taking a new tack saying that there's been a mass shooting every day in America for the last year.
It's at this rate. This is a uniquely American problem.
Yeah. No, not really.
And by the way, it's not just the Las Vegases and the Orlandos and the Sandy Hooks. We've actually had more mass shootings this year than days in the year. If you categorize a mass shooting as 4 or more people being shot at any one given time. And let me guarantee you, if 4 or more people were shot in your town or your neighborhood, that would be a cataclysmic event.
Okay, that happens all the time. in cities like Chicago, and they normally don't give a shite about what happens in Chicago, but suddenly they're categorizing 4 or more as a mass shooting. Now, when 4 or more people in Chicago are shot on a given time, they aren't automatic weapons. They're handguns. They're handguns.
Yet it happens on average more than once a day in this country. And yet because we have become so regular,
we suddenly care. We suddenly care about black people. These Black Lives Matter when it forwards a narrative that there is a mass shooting in the country every day of the year.
So regularized to it.
He did it again. We regularized it. Regularized
it. Only the regularized to it.
Regularized.
Only the moments like last night.
Yeah.
Where the scale is truly epic.
Yeah.
Do we focus on it as a nation?
Now, I didn't realize that was the next morning. Wow. 0 to political in 8 hours. Whew. Fantastic. Tasteless, tactless, insensitive, and awful. Good job, guys. Good job. We don't give a crap about Baltimore. We don't give a crap about Ferguson. We don't give a crap about Chicago. But when there's a genuine mass shooting in Chicago, a madman goes insane, whatever he did. Suddenly, wait. Those dead bodies wait a minute. Those dead bodies in Chicago, we can use those dead bodies to politicize this. We'll call them all mass shootings. Really disgusting.
That this body in 4.5 years has done absolutely nothing.
Okay, now this is where he goes, like Kimmel did, toward blaming people who don't agree with them and making them complicit in the murders.
Reduce the likelihood of another mass shooting. And indeed, because we have done nothing,
yes,
the mass shootings continue. I know these are harsh words, but I believe it in my heart. I think there is an unintentional endorsement that gets sent to these.
He's saying that we unintentionally endorse mass murder when gun control doesn't happen. I honestly, I have no words. This is I don't even know what to call this. Why? I've never been so invested in a political ideology that I would lie and call other people endorsers of mass murder because they don't agree with me. That's mentally ill.
Mass murders when after slaughter, Congress does nothing.
Okay, yeah, they look at it. He was like, you know what? You know, this guy in the hotel room. He's like, I haven't done anything about gun control and assault rifles. I guess they gave me the thumbs up to kill people. What an incredibly douchey thing to say. I mean, I'll just call him the douchebag du jour. All right. Honestly, I don't know this fool, Chris Murphy, Connecticut. I'll give you the douchebag of the day. Congratulations. That's a pretty big deal. That is a pretty big deal. Although, maybe I spoke too soon because Keith Olbermann. He's kind of doing the same thing. Keith Olbermann. Wow, what an insufferable. I can't say it. I mean, I can. I can say anything I want. It's a podcast, but I'm not going to. But he's essentially calling, anybody who doesn't support gun control, blah, blah. And now he's calling the National Riflemen's Association. They are terrorists. I'm a member, actually, so I guess I'm a supporter of terrorism. Here he is.
I'm Keith Olbermann, and this is The Resistance. Warmest condolences and sympathies.
Doesn't that just sound heartfelt? I mean, doesn't that just sound heartfelt? Here we go. Let's hear it again.
Olbermann, and this is The Resistance. Warmest condolences and sympathies.
He's the Resistance, by the way, which I think is really funny because nobody's following him. I only use this audio because it's so just inflammatory and stupid. But he's starting a resistance. Come on. We're resisting. Who's with me? Hello? Anyone? It's over. Okay, fine. I guess, Keith Olbermann, I guess I'm too much of a douchebag for you to follow.
Will not suffice. We need leadership in this country which will prevent, whatever their motive, the terrorists in this country from buying guns in this country and killing crowds of people.
Now, he kind of looks like Sam the Eagle from The Muppet Show, but Sam the Eagle is cool, and he's just a douchebag.
In this country. Instead, the House of Representatives is to vote this week to relax restrictions on buying silencers for firearms.
Yeah.
So it becomes more difficult to hear where the gunfire is coming from.
Is that the reason, really? Is that the reason why silencers exist? First of all, if you put a silencer on an M4, an assault rifle, it still is as loud as a jackhammer. I would assume the reason why many people use silencers is because, or to mute slightly the sound, is because perhaps gun ranges are near homes and they don't want to hear the noise. Perhaps there are those, like when I was growing up on a farm, we would go out and shoot. And we wouldn't want to annoy the neighbors or get the police called on us for going out there for being a noise infraction. I mean, you could shoot, but maybe that's the reason.
Instead, we have.
Did this guy have any silencers, by the way? Because there's I heard a couple million silencers out there, and I don't think he used silencers.
Las Vegas, and per the website, the Gun Violence Archive, we have the 272nd mass shooting of 4 or more people in this country this year.
Okay, those are the talking points. Suddenly, the black bodies in Chicago matter because it can forward this false narrative of a mass shooting. Now, a mass shooting is 4 or more. They used to call those a drive-by shooting, actually.
272nd on the 274th day of the year. Instead, we have warmest condolences and sympathies.
That really does, again, sound warm.
Of the year. Instead, we have warmest condolences and sympathies.
It's like getting, warmest condolences from Mr. Spock.
And we have the Second Amendment, which was designed to keep the federal government from taking away the right of each state to maintain its own militia, but which has now been transformed into an excuse for why madmen of whatever heritage or political purpose cannot be stopped from carrying at least 10 long rifles into a hotel room in Las Vegas and setting up a sniper's nest and killing people, and why a group that enables such massacres, the National Rifle Association, is not branded for what it is, a terrorist organization.
Meanwhile, nobody says anything about the Antifa. You want to know the difference between an NRA rally and a Black Lives Matter or an Antifa rally? I was thinking about this morning. At the NRA rally, people give the police bottles of water. At the Antifa or the Black Lives Matter march or protest, they hurl bottles of urine at them. And rocks. Stuff like that. Who do you think I should give the douche of the day to? Should it be Keith Olbermann? Can we do a co-douche? Maybe we can do a co. Nah, I don't want to do a co-douche. You water it down. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Chris Murphy on this one because he's the new douche. All right, he's the new douche, and everybody knows that Keith Olbermann has been a douche for a very long time. Oh, here's Hillary Clinton talking about her book and the NRA and Republicans.
The NRA, which represents gun manufacturers far more than they represent gun owners, will have some pressure that will finally force them to have a weakened position, which will give support to those like myself who have long advocated for sensible gun measures. But
I'm protected by people with really cool guns all the time and armored vehicles and, like most people, or no.
Even those who were on the edge and not feeling confident in going after the NRA. As you say in my book, what happened.
That's the latest demonization. It's the NRA. The NRA, 270 mass shootings. They really get those talking points, those parroting points out there pretty quickly, don't they?
The whole chapter where I talk about Mothers of the Movement and Sandy Hook.
Got to push the book, yeah.
Gabby Giffords.
That's good.
Because I think the way that the Republican Party has been captured by the NRA, which has intimidated.
Oh, I think that I would say that most gun owners I don't know what the percentage is, but there are a lot of gun owners. Are they all NRA members? Is the reason they get the guns the NRA? I had a gun before I joined the NRA.
A lot of Democrats, not all, thank goodness, but a lot.
Goodness, yeah.
Is one of the worst developments of the last 25 years.
Okay, whatever. Honestly, just, ugh. No, I've already given the douche of the day. Forget that. I just had a fleeting thought. Just a quick fleeting thought there. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Senator Chris Murphy on this one. Yeah. Sonny Melton, whose husband died on Sunday night. She was a woman who was shielded by her husband, and her husband lost her life. She didn't want to talk to the media, but felt she had to. Here she is talking to Anderson Cooper.
You're not thinking about the person who did this. You don't really care about.
I don't even know his name. I don't want to know his name. I don't care what his motive was, because in my mind, there's no justifiable motive, reason, belief that could account for what he did. And it won't change the fact that he killed my husband and a lot of other innocent people. I don't ever want to hear his name. I don't want to see his face. And that's a big reason why I'm talking to you, because I don't want to be here doing this. But I cannot let a monster like that overshadow the people that he took.
Amen. I don't know how you find the strength to talk when you lose somebody like that. She did it for a reason. By the way, Representative Seth Moulton, Democrat, Massachusetts, refused to take part in a moment of silence for the victims of the largest mass shooting in U.S. history that occurred in Vegas. He said, now is not a moment for silence. It's a time for action. So now is not a moment of silence. It's time for action. Whatever. By the way, 23-year-old Bubba Derby is a pitching prospect for the Milwaukee Brewers. He saved a life, made it out alive, helped shield a couple of people, literally grabbed their hands, ran them to safety. One of the women said, I knew this man for 5 minutes before the gunshot started, and we're bonded forever. As I sit here with my husband and children, I'm so thankful. This world has some amazing people. He said, what I witnessed was tragic and awful, but I also witnessed a lot of good. A lot of people going back into harm's way, law enforcement, and was sprinting toward the gunfire. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Amazing people. So Donald Trump's taking a lot of heat. He's in Puerto Rico, and here's the thing, the response is not slow enough, or not fast enough, I guess, for some people, and so they're politicizing it again, like they did Melania Trump's shoes when they went to visit Texas. It's stupid. And here's the deal: when it comes to getting supplies to the Philippines, or not the Philippines, to Puerto Rico, you can't drive a truck there, you see. So it takes a little while longer. But that hasn't stopped some from politicizing it, saying that the president's not doing enough. Yesterday, he took some heat because apparently he was in a room and he gave a speech, and he had some supplies there with him, and there were some people in the room, and he could not get to them. They were in the back of the room, so he just threw rolls of paper towels to people. Okay? Here's the audio. Listen to the crowd. Listen to the crowd. Okay, they're laughing. He can't get to them. He's the president of the damn United States. It wasn't like Marie Antoinette tossing cake. It was a president. He was tossing paper towels. To know that you got a roll of paper towels from the president of the United States, he couldn't go back there. He's not going to go back there. He's not going to distribute it, but he's taking a lot of heat for it because everything is political. Everything is political. I would say, as far as this president, as far as this government, with considering the three natural disasters that have happened in the last 3 weeks, Texas, Houston, Florida, and now this, I've never seen the government so active and engaged and reactive. And normally, I'm down on the government. Not a big fan. He also talked about, by the way, I don't know if you knew this, Puerto Rico's in a lot of debt. So this awful president who doesn't give a crap about brown people talked yesterday, now that Puerto Rico's been hurt so badly. And by the way, it's going to be months before they get power. I heard 1.5 million telephone poles down. Power lines down. 1.5 million poles down. They got to get all of that lumber there, all of the material there, and then put them back up again. But he said, why kick a country while it's down? We need to work on erasing their debt. Think about that, folks.
We're going to work something out. We have to look at their whole debt structure. They owe a lot of money to your friends on Wall Street, and we're going to have to wipe that out. That's going to have to be, you can say goodbye to that. I don't know if it's Goldman Sachs, but whoever it is, you can wave goodbye to that. We have to do something about, because the debt was massive on the island. And
okay, $70 billion in debt, by the way. $70 billion in debt is what the island is in debt. Sorry, I'm telling my dogs to shut up. I do this the show from my home. $70 billion in debt. So even though there are some on the island that have been maligning the president, the president is basically more concerned with the people on the island. The mayor of San Juan has been just a little B word, but the president, despite this woman trying to make this into some sort of a political issue, and she has, and being a self-righteous, selfish little B word, the president has said it's more important to help out the people than you idiot. Let's hope the disasters are over for a while, okay? Let's hope the disasters are over for a while. I think we've had our belly full of disasters. Oh, one other soundbite I wanted to bring up with you with regard to the shootings. Obviously Democrats are calling for gun control. And Gabby Giffords, of course, and God bless her. I'm sorry for what she had happen to her outside a movie theater. Not outside a movie theater. Anyway, Gabby Giffords, she took a bullet. Steve Scalise did too, and by the way, he's in the hospital learning how to walk again for the last 3 months. Here's what he had to say about gun control and about what happened in Vegas.
Inevitably, questions about the Second Amendment are raised.
It's on Fox News, by the way.
By what happened in Las Vegas. It happens almost immediately. Have your experience of your own and what you saw in Las Vegas, has it changed how you feel about any of that?
I think it's fortified it. Because first of all, you've got to recognize that, when there's a tragedy like this, the first thing we should be thinking about is praying for the people who were injured and doing whatever we can to help them, to help law enforcement. We shouldn't first be thinking of promoting our political agenda.
That's a guy who had a bullet shred his hip bone and his femur 3 months ago. And he has the wherewithal not to be pissed, not to blame, not to say we need to stop the kind of weapon that shot me, which was for political purposes, targeting of Republicans on a baseball field by a Bernie Sanders supporter. It's pretty ballsy of him, I think. I don't know. I think it's pretty ballsy. Michelle Obama was at a Pennsylvania conference for women, couldn't wait to bear that racial chip on her shoulder about Republicans, and here's what she had to say about I'm a Republican. I am a white guy. Let's get over that. But she talked about the lack of diversity, I guess, in the Republican Party because she can't help herself. She can't help herself but see everything through the prism of race.
But I would see that in Congress. I mean, one of the most interesting points, I told you about this, usually at the State of the Union address, where, you sit in the balcony and watch the State of the Union.
Like you do.
Yeah, like you do. You see it on TV. I'm in the room. But when you're in the room, what you can see is this real dichotomy. That on one side of the room, it's a feeling of color almost. On one side of
the prism through which I see everything.
Room, it's literally gray and white. Mm-hmm. Literally, that's the color palette on one side of the room. On the other side of the room, there's yellows and blues and whites and greens. Physically, there's a difference in color.
But they all think exactly the same.
In the tone.
Wow.
Because one side, all men.
No.
All white.
No.
On the other side,
it's not true.
Some women, some people of color. And whenever I was sitting...
What about the leadership of the Democrat Party? Honestly, Nancy Pelosi... I mean, the people who have been leading the Democrat Party. Harry Reid no longer in there, thank goodness, but it's still pretty white. And by the way, it's easy to keep people of color from joining the Republican Party because when they do, they're demonized. When they do, they're called Uncle Toms. When they do, they're called traitors to their race. So, you know, it's a little harder to be a black Democrat than to be or a black Republican than a black Democrat. If you're a black Democrat, you are okay. You stay right there on that Democrat plantation, ladies and gentlemen. But if you dare stray, we are going to send the dogs after you. I know that's inflammatory. No, not really. It's the way it is. It's the way it is. You try to become a conservative as a black person of color. You become a Republican. Not good. Oh, American optimism about the economy is good. Third quarter CNBC All-American Economic Survey found 43% of the public believes the economy is excellent or good. It's a record high in the 10-year history of the survey. Whoop. That includes the Obama administration. 36% believes the economy will get better, down a couple of points from the last quarter. Just 23% said it'll get worse, down 6 points. There you go. You know, I'm feeling optimistic. I've got a couple job interviews today. And I'm also on Liberty One TV, and I'm also on the Podcast Radio Network. So I'm feeling optimistic. I really am. And it's been a tough road to hoe. I mean, my white privilege has not gotten me a lot. I've been out of work since November 21st. Who can say that? You know, you haven't lived. And I don't want to be too serious. You haven't lived until you had to sell something you value to pay the rent. You haven't lived until you've had to sell something that you prize to pay the rent. I'll just leave it at that. You haven't lived until you're at the gas station and you have to call your sig other and say, can I fill the tank or should I just put $10 in it because payday's Friday? You haven't lived until you went to the grocery store and, bought everything that was being cleared out half-priced and never even thought about name brands. You have not lived. I've learned a lot since leaving radio and hopefully returning to radio and continuing what I'm doing now. I always looked at, is there a reason for things like this? Why am I having to suffer like this? Why haven't we not been able to run the air conditioning in the house? Only when we have guests. Otherwise, we have fans in the house because the utility bill's too high. I'm not meaning to be, complain. We've managed to get by, and we've had some people, some miracle makers in our lives. If you're going through this, and I know many of you are, and I'm seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I hope and pray you see light at the end of your tunnel. And I want to mention something else. And you don't know me. I worked in radio for a long time, and I was let go from a radio station. And I had to reinvent myself. You see this TV thing that I'm doing here? I didn't know a damn thing about this 10 months ago. I didn't know how to put my tpublic.com conservatives. You see that down there? tpublic.com, conservative. Yeah, there. Okay, right there. Where it is? Where? Right here. Anyway, yeah. tpublic.com, conservatives. Right here. See that? That is a brand that I have created. It is a low, politically incorrect gear. I didn't know how to put together a studio, light it, do cameras, put up Liberty One TV. See that up there? It's like being on Electric Company. Hey, I didn't know anything about that. I got a graphic designer to come up with these politically incorrect designs like these. If you want to order, make that a favorite on your browser. Suck it up, Snowflake. Calm down. She lost. He won. Get over it. I didn't know how to do this. I got a graphic designer, Sam Cangelosi, in Kansas City. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Sam. Proud climate change denier. Jan Brady saying, Russia, Russia, Russia. Haven't heard much about Russia lately. My kid is not a snowflake. Oh, there's more, by the way. We've got 61 designs. Oh, the iconic Che Guevara shirt. Murderous commie douchebag, not a hero. You can get this on a down here. Down there. Yeah, there we go. There. You can get those on T-shirts and hoodies coming up here. This is my favorite. Veganism is an eating disorder. It is. You can get, isn't that pretty? The coexist bumper sticker with religious symbols. You can't coexist when some want to kill you. You know the sticker that says war is not the answer? Yeah, sometimes war is the answer. Sometimes dictators need their asses kicked. Dude, make America grateful again. Sweet, let's get high. I've got your safe space right here. T-shirts, hoodies, the whole deal. And if you're a Chiefs fan, Kansas City, there you go. Okay. So like I said, I didn't know how to do all this stuff. And I've had to reinvent myself as a video and audio podcaster. And I even create up a brand of politically incorrect gear. So hang in there if you're suffering. Hang in there if you've lost your job. Hang in there if you've had to sell something of value. It's a bitch. Trust me on this. It's a bitch. I'm going to wrap things up because I've spoken. No, actually, I've got to do two stories because I promoted one. I want to do Mark Cuban first. Mark Cuban is a NBA owner. He's also on Shark Tank. He's also kind of a douche. But he did say some interesting things when he was being interviewed about the national anthem protests. Here is what he has had to say about being an NBA owner versus an NFL owner.
I think they should stand. I stand. I put my hand on their heart. Most of our guys do as well. We had a game last night. They all did.
Good.
And I told them, look, when you just have a silent protest like that, you leave the narrative to everybody else. Rather than doing that, I'll put you in front of a camera. Say what's on your mind. What is the message you like to convey? And we'll show it to the fans. We'll show it, give it to the media, let them show it to their viewers and listeners. We'll deal with the issue and control the medium. You know, and we have foundations and we get involved.
The NFL can do the same thing.
In all these causes, right? Let's talk about that and what we do. If the NFL is in a different spot, right? If what's the Los Angeles Chargers, what teams they have here, or the Raiders, okay? If the Raiders walk by, you wouldn't recognize anybody that maybe Marshawn Lynch and Derek Carr, right? They don't have the same platform that the NBA players have. When the president says something, LeBron calls him a bum. LeBron had more followers than the president does. He has a bigger platform. NFL players, their only platform is when they're on the field, the cameras are on, and together they can convey a message. Right. So it's completely different.
If LeBron were to take a knee, would you fine him?
That's up. Yeah, he would get fined because those are the rules.
There you go. Those are the rules. Those are the rules. They are the rules of the NFL, by the way. The NFL is just not enforcing them. As far as a platform, do you have a platform? Do you have a platform? Are you an NFL player? Are you an NBA player? No. You can find a platform. You can find a way to get the message out. So don't give me that crap. That's the only thing I disagree with. Real quick, I got two more stories I want to get to. Elementary school in Needham, Massachusetts has decided to get rid of Halloween because some kids do not celebrate it, so it is exclusionary. Here is the news report from WCVB-TV.
Needham's Mitchell Elementary has canceled their festivities, and it's no trick. Traditionally, Halloween at Mitchell was celebrated with class parties and a parade of kids in costume, but some families who don't celebrate kept their kids home from school. So this year, teachers told the principal it felt awkward, planning something that not everyone would enjoy.
They don't want to do it. Don't have to do it.
This Needham dad fondly remembers the way his girls planned their costumes with their classmates.
It's fun. So, I mean, I can't see why people want to preclude kids from having fun and enjoy something that's more cultural. There's no real religious significance to anything about Halloween.
No,
it's just
not really.
a thing where kids get candy.
Other parents,
well, and then the pagans and the Satan. No.
Looking on the bright side, say there's still plenty of time for sweets and spooky fun at home.
I don't feel it's really related to overall learning. I mean, it's important for kids to have that fun, but I think it's a choice per family. We definitely like to celebrate with our kids.
In a letter sent home to parents, the school principal wrote, "I recognize that this decision will be disappointing to some who may feel like Mitchell is changing. I would agree that this represents a change, but I believe that in the long term, any change towards including all children is a positive change that will benefit our students and our community." In its place, the first annual William Mitchell Day will celebrate the school community in autumn on November 9th.
That's great. Let's just celebrate autumn. Do we really need to celebrate autumn? Do we celebrate winter? Do we? Whatever. Incrementally creeping into everything. Political correctness, whatever. I don't care. I'm going to have a great time with my daughter. She's 12. This will be one of the last years she trick-or-treats. And I'm going to be giving out the full-size candy bars to the good kids. Fun size for the kids who don't say please and thank you. You're either pro-life or you're not, folks. You're either pro-life or you're not. This guy, I don't know who, U.S. Congressman Tim Murphy, pro-life advocate. Here's the problem. He's only pro-life when it saves his ass. I'm going to call out a Republican for this. This is to me is ridiculous. It's more than hypocrisy. It's just quite simply being okay with murdering because you've got a problem with the life. Okay? He applauded H.R. 7, the bill which states no federal funds will be used to pay for abortions. Said, "I proudly sponsored and voted for this important bill." Here's the problem. Pittsburgh Post-Gazette obtained text messages between U.S. Representative Murphy, 64, of Pennsylvania, and Sharon Edwards, 32, a forensic psychologist. The problem is he got her pregnant. She is his mistress, and he said, get an abortion when he thought she might be pregnant. So see, he's all for H.R. 7 that states no federal funds will be used to pay for abortions, but I will pay for it. Don't worry about it, honey. I mean, don't worry, no federal funds will be spent, but here's the deal. Make an appointment at Planned Parenthood. Here's my credit card number, expiration date, the little code on the back. Good luck with that. All right. Time for me to get out of here. Boy, we gave you a long one today, man. Woohoo! That's what Bill Clinton used to say. Wow, almost 58 minutes, almost an hour long. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really do. If you would, please become a member of LibertyOneTV.com, LibertyOneTV.com. We've got some exciting additions coming to the lineup. I've got some friends who are pretty darn great at talk and video podcasting. And it looks like we're going to be adding some people to the lineup. So LibertyOneTV.com, $99 a year or $10 a month. Or there's an executive level, $1,000 a year. Great for a small business. It's once you want to be credited as an official part of any one of the shows here. That's a big deal. But also, like I said, $10 a month or $99 for the entire year. Also, Podcast Radio Network, thank you very much. My audio podcast is available there every day at 5 o'clock Central Standard. You watch it here on Liberty One TV, 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. And then you can catch it anytime, download it on YouTube, iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Audio Boom, Google Play, Google Plus, all of them. And your Alexa. And your Alexa, just say, hey, Alexa, play the Rob Carson Show podcast. I hope she didn't hear me. She's sitting actually right behind me. In the meantime, more prayers for the victims of the shootings, those who passed, their families, those who are fighting for their lives in the hospital. I pray for you every night, and you are the ones who I take a knee for. In the meantime, have a glorious day. God bless. And we'll see you real soon.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.